Hi again. It's Miss Audrey over here in Audrey's reading area. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I don't know if it's up or down, but find the subscribe button and hit subscribe. Once again, I'm excited to be reading a book to you guys. This one is called The Magic School Bus. The Magic School Bus, Lost in the Solar System. This book is by Joanna Cole and it's illustrated, which means the person that drew all the pictures in the book. It's illustrated by Bruce Diggin. Now, it was trip day again in Miss Frizzle's class. Everyone was excited. We were going to the planetarium to see a sky show about the solar system. Arnold's cousin Janet was visiting our class for the day. I know all of you will be nice to our guests, said the Frizz. We tried to be nice to Janet. We really did. As we got on the school bus, we told her that Miss Fizzle is the weirdest teacher in school. But Janet wasn't interested. She wanted to tell us about herself. As usual, it took a while to get the old bus started, but finally we were on our way. As we were driving, Miss Frizzle told us all about how the Earth spins like a top as it moves in its orbit. It was just a short drive to the planetarium, but Miss Fizzle talked fast. When we got to the planetarium, it was closed for repairs. Uh-oh. Class, this means we'll have to return to school, said the Fizz. We are so disappointed. On the way back, as we were waiting at a red light, something amazing happened. The bus started tilting back, and we heard the roar of the rockets. Oh dear, said Miss Frizzle. We seem to be blasting off. When the roar of the rocket stopped, we looked around. We looked all around. Everything had changed. The bus had turned into a spaceship. We were all dressed up in spacesuits, and we were lighter than feathers. We floated above our seats. There's a little fact in the corner by Phil. It says, why do people feel weightless in space? A spaceship and the people in it both go into orbit around the nearest planet or sun. When this happens, the people are no longer pulled towards the floor of the ship, so they float around. And far behind in the black sky, we saw the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller. We were traveling in space. We had become astronauts. The Frizz said our first stop would be the moon. We got off the bus and looked around. There was no air, no water, and no sign of life. All we saw were dust and rocks and lots of craters. Miss Frizzle said the craters were formed billions of years ago when the moon was hit by the meteorites. Meteorites are falling chunks of rock and metal. It was fun on the moon. We wanted to play, but Miss Frizzle said it was time to go. So we got back on the bus. We'll start with the sun, the center of the solar system, said the Frizz, and we blasted off. We zoomed towards the sun. The sun is the biggest, brightest, and hottest object in the solar system. Jets of superhot gases shot out at us from the surface. Thank goodness Miss Frizzle didn't get too close. She steered around to the other side and pulled away. We'll be seeing all the planets in order, class, said Frizzy. Mercury is the first planet closest to the sun. Which is the first planet closest to the sun? That's right, you guys, good listeners, Mercury. This is a fun fact. How hot is the sun by Flory? At the center of the sun, the temperature is about 15 million degrees centigrade. The sun is so hot, it heats planets that are millions of kilometers away, like Earth. Mercury was a dead, sun-baked planet. This planet is a lot like our moon. There is no water and hardly any air, said the Frizz. Notice the craters on its surface as we pass by. See the craters? Before long, we felt ourselves being pulled in by the gravity of Venus. Venus is the second planet from the sun. Venus was completely covered by a thick layer of yellowish clouds. We will now explore the surface of Venus, said Miss Frizzle. Fun fact, why are Venus's clouds yellow? By Tim. It says Earth's clouds are white because they are made of water vapor. Venus's clouds are made mostly of a deadly yellow poison called sulfuric acid. Below the clouds, Venus was as dry as a desert. The ground was covered with rocks, and it was hot. It was about 400 degrees centigrade. That's much hotter than an oven baking cookies. The air was so heavy, we could feel it pressing down on us. Miss Frizzle said there might be volcanoes around too. We said, let's get out of here. Our next stop is Mars, the red planet. What's the red planet? Mars. Good listening. Good listening. Mars is the fourth planet from the sun. Fourth planet from the sun. It's also the red planet. Don't forget. On our way, we'll be passing through the orbit of Earth, the third planet. The bus lifted off with a roar. One fun fact in the corner, it says it never rains on Venus, by Dorothy Ann. Venus's clouds never make rain because it's too hot for rain to form. Any liquid on Venus dries up instantly. As we came close to Mars, we passed its two moons, which are called Phobos and Deimos. Phobos, which is 18 miles long, and Deimos, which is 9 miles long. Compared to our moon, they were tiny, and they weren't even round. Looking down, we saw a huge canyon. Mrs. Frizzle said it was as long as the United States. There was a volcano 3 times taller than the tallest volcano on Earth. And all around, there were channels that looked like dried up riverbeds. Wow. Interesting. We landed and started walking around. Suddenly, a huge dust storm blew up. Miss Frizzle said dust storms on Mars can last for months. They may cover the whole planet. We scrambled back on the bus and headed out. Another fun fact about Mars. Why is Mars red? By Arnold. Mars looks red because there's a lot of rusty iron in its soil. The sky looks pinkish because of red dust in the air. Mars is the last of what we call the inner planets, Mrs. Frizzle shouted above the roar of the rockets. We will now be going through the asteroid belt to the outer planets. What are the inner planets? By Alex. Fun fact. The inner planets are the 4 planets closest to the sun. Can you guys remember what they are? Good job. Earth. Well, let's say Mercury first, Venus, Earth, and then Mars. Those are the 4 inner planets, and they're all rocky and hard. Thousands of asteroids were spinning all around us. All at once, we heard the tinkling of broken glass. One of our taillights had been hit by an asteroid. Uh-oh. Miss Frizzle put the bus on autopilot and went out to take a look. She kept on talking about asteroids over the bus radio. Suddenly, there was a snap. Miss Frizzle's tether line had broken. Without warning, the line broke. The rockets fired up without warning. And the bus zoomed away without warning. The autopilot was malfunctioning. Uh-oh. On the radio, Miss Frizzle's voice grew fainter and fainter. Then she was gone. We were on our own. We were lost in the solar system. Kids, I'll meet you later, 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 later. Voice faded out. What they gonna do now? Uh-oh. Most of us were too scared to move. They froze. But Janet started searching the bus. In the glove compartment, she found Miss Frizzle's lesson book. As she began reading from it, a huge planet came into view. Class, this is Jupiter, Janet read. It's the first of the outer planets and the largest planet in the solar system. We thought the school bus was going to land, but there was no solid ground to land on. Jupiter is a giant gas planet. It's a gas giant. So it's a planet that's made almost entirely of gas. As we left Jupiter, we wondered and worried. Would we ever get home? The next sight made us forget our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. Saturn is another gas planet, just like Jupiter. It had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. See the rings around it? So another fun fact about Saturn is What Are Saturn's Rings by Rachel. Saturn's rings are made of ice, rock, and dust, all in orbit all around the planet. Next was Uranus. Uranus is a blue-green gas planet, another gas planet, with faint gray rings and moons. Some scientists think they might be made of chunks of graphite. That's the material used in pencils on Earth. The bus was going faster and faster, and we couldn't control the autopilot. We swept past stormy Neptune, which is another blue-green planet, 8th planet from the sun. All we could think about was finding Miss Frizzle. Fun fact, How Long is a Year? By Tim. A year is the time it takes for a planet to go all around the sun. Neptune and Uranus are so far away from the sun that they have very long years. 1 year on Uranus is like 84 years on Earth. Neptune's year is about 165 Earth years. We are going so fast. We almost missed seeing the 9th planet. Does anybody know what the 9th planet is? Tiny, tiny Pluto. Pluto is the 9th planet. They saw Pluto and its moon, Charon. We were so far away from the sun that it didn't look big anymore. It just looked like a very bright star. We were leaving the solar system. Janet flipped rapidly through Miss Frizzle's book. Suddenly, she found something new. The instructions for the autopilot. Yay! We punched in asteroid belt on the control panel. Slowly, the bus turned around. It was working. We were going back. When we reached the asteroid belt, there was Miss Frizzle. With Frizzle back at the wheel, the bus headed straight for Earth. We re-entered the atmosphere, landed with a thump, and we looked around. We looked around. When they looked around, hey, that asteroid is funny dressed. That's not an asteroid, it's Miss Frizzle. Boy, am I glad to see her. Me too. With Frizzle back at the wheel, the bus headed straight for Earth. We re-entered the atmosphere and landed with a thump and looked around. Boys and girls, we are arriving on the Earth, the planet The third planet from the sun. Third planet from the sun. We were in the school parking lot again. The rockets were gone. The spacesuits were gone. The bus was a wreck. Everything was back to normal. Thank goodness. Now, in the classroom, we made a terrific chart of the planets and a mobile of the solar system. The charts and the mobile of the solar system. At last, it was time to go home. It had been a typical day in Miss Frizzle's class. Now we had only one problem. Would anyone ever believe us when we told them about our trip? He's telling his parents, we went to outer space today. Mother's like, of course you did, dear. Of course. Sure. And there was Miss Frizzle floating among the asteroids. And she's thinking, what an imagination he has. He's saying my favorite planet was Jupiter. No, maybe Mars. Of course, Saturn was gorgeous too. His sister's like, Mom, make him stop. And there was Miss Frizzle, and we could have been lost in space forever when Miss Frizzle got lost. And his mom's like, eat your salad, dear. They're not believing them. Well, what a great book we have. Attention, readers. The author left some words for you guys. Do not attempt this trip on your own school bus. There are 3 reasons why you're not to attempt. Number 1, attaching rockets to your school bus will upset your teacher, the school principal, and your parents. It will not get you into orbit anyway. An ordinary bus cannot travel in outer space, and you cannot become astronauts without years and years of special training. Number 2, landing on certain planets may be dangerous to your health. Even astronauts cannot visit Venus. It's too hot. Mercury. It's too close to the sun. Or Jupiter. Its gravity would crush human beings. People cannot fly to the sun. They can't do that either. Its gravity and heat would be way too strong. So number 3, the third reason, space travel could make you miss dinner with your family for the rest of your childhood. Even if a school bus could go to outer space, it could never travel through the entire solar system in just one day. It took years for the Voyager space probes to do that. On the other hand, if a red-haired teacher in a funny dress shows up at your door, start packing. You know it might be Miss Frizzle. I hope you guys enjoyed the magic school bus, lost in the solar system. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. See you again.